honestly, I'm just gonna say this. I think it's better than Triumph's gearbox. You know, I didn't think I'd say something like that, but you know, the Grom is just, it's truly incredible. I mean, God, you're really getting away from me. It's incredible.
Yeah, all you need to do is just get yourself into a nice full tuck and you can just feel the ungodly power of the Grom.
Well, howdy y'all! Welcome to another episode of Yammie Noob. Today is not an expert bike giveaway series. It's not a beginner bike giveaway series. Today we're doing the Grom versus the Hayabusa. This is obviously a comparison that needs to be made, and everyone keeps asking us to make it. They say, yeah, Spike, these two motorcycles are so similar. You just have them sitting in the garage and you haven't talked about them yet? Can you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly a bit of ashamed of ourselves that it's taken us so long to get this comparison out there.
Yeah, honestly, it's because we're just two dum-dums, and we didn't even see that these two bikes looked so similar until we had them right next to each other, honestly.
Yeah, but it's about time we get them out and actually see how they shake down together.
But before we do, a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is powered by the good folks over at Manscaped. You guys see the Manscaped sticker on the Busa and you already know what it's all about. We've worked with them for almost 2 years at this point, and there's a good reason. They make the world's best male grooming tool that's guaranteed to not nick or cut thanks to the ceramic blade technology that it uses. It's 100% waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. It's got tons of 5-star reviews, and literally thousands of men have made the switch to a dedicated product to trim up their family jewels. Did you know 8 in 10 partners prefer someone who is trimmed downstairs? It's true. Right now, fans of the Yam get a killer deal on their Manscaped order by clicking the link down below and using the code NOOB20 to get 20% off and free shipping. I use their products myself, and as much as I'd like to show a demonstration, I think that would be a one-way ticket to nuke my brand. So again, support the brands that support us. Manscaped has allowed us to do all kinds of wonky and crazy things. Code NOOB20 down below gets you 20% off. Use it and lose the unsightly hair.
So obviously, since these bikes are so similar, everyone is asking us, well, how can we tell the difference? And the easiest way to do it is to just dive right into the spec sheet if you don't have these bikes at home. So the Grom makes a total of 9.6 horsepower and 8 foot-pounds of torque, which you really do start to feel that 8 foot-pounds when you crack that throttle wide open.
It's true. You actually can't really crack this throttle wide open, as we'll show you in the vlog later. It's just really prodigious, the amount of low-end torque that it has.
Yes, it really is.
And it's powered by that 125cc, right?
Yeah, this is a 125cc single-cylinder engine.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, and then the Hayabusa over here makes 175 horsepower and 102 foot-pounds of torque, powered by this 1300cc inline 4. And now I know what you're saying. I mean, they're so similar in terms of power that why are we even comparing them? They're basically the same bike. But stick around, there are a couple differences we do want to dive into.
I'd also like to point out, though, that it is a little bit of a shame that Suzuki only got that close to the Grom by boring the hell out of that engine. It's gigantic.
I agree.
I mean, how could they not just get within the ballpark of the Grom with like a 600?
Honda build quality, man.
Yeah,
that's what they do best, you know?
And, you know, featuring off of that, this is only 224 pounds wet. That is awesome.
That is race replica weight right there. I can't even think of any 600 that even comes close to that.
Yeah, I mean, we got to put it up against the Daytona, man. We got to take them both to the track.
My race bike weighs like 390 or 380, so you kidding me with this Grom? And then unfortunately over here, the Hayabusa, you know, it's not quite as race ready. So it comes in at 550 pounds, soaking wet and ready to ride. So Suzuki does need to put the Busa on a bit of a diet to compete with something like the Grom.
Maybe that's where that 1300 cc's come from. They just knew how much the weight was going to sandbag it, that they really had to bore out that engine. It's really kind of a shame.
It's true. Now in terms of seat height, I know a lot of you guys are looking at both of these. Perfect beginner bikes in all capacities, and so seat height is very important. So Spike, what's the seat height on the Grom?
Seat height on the Grom is 30.7 inches. It is very approachable.
Very approachable. Most race replicas sit at that 32, 33-inch seat height, so honestly the Grom's giving you a little bit of leeway there so you can get started and start ripping down your favorite track with ease. And then the Hayabusa over here has a 31.5-inch seat height, so it's a little bit higher, and I'm not really sure why Suzuki did that, honestly.
Yeah, you see the ethos of this motorcycle. It's sport touring. You want a nice comfy seat with the seat being a little bit lower than the handlebars. And, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit later when we're on the road. But just the rider triangle doesn't feel quite right.
Mm-hmm. Now, one point I really want to make is Honda has done something absolutely unbelievable with the Honda Grom. They're giving you race-ready performance, pedigree, build quality, all this for merely $3,999 on the showroom floor. I don't know how they do it.
It's a steal. I mean, this beats an R1 down a track, and it's less than half the price.
Way less than half. And then poor Busa over here, brand new, is $14,599. So you're looking at over $10,000 extra to get this bike over that one. I'm not really sure what Suzuki's smoking over here.
Yeah, no, they're really asking quite a price for that thing. It's not really going to keep up.
No, honestly, it's not. So again, I know what you guys are saying. Guys, these bikes are so similar, but look a little closer, guys. You can see that this has a full fairing here, and the ergonomics package is a little bit different on the Busa than it is on the Grom. So this is a sport touring, fully faired motorcycle. This is a hardcore, naked track weapon. So you do sit a little bit nicer and upright on the Grom, because honestly, they didn't want to make it so that you just have some sort of race-ready machine, right?
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit livable.
If the ergonomics were too committed, this thing would just be ungodly. Could you imagine wrangling in all of this horsepower while leaned forward with just, it would be unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be like taking the R1, but just adding 100% more to it,
And dropping the weight by half.
Unbelievable. All right, Spite, I feel like we've talked enough about these things. I am dying to get them on the road. Let's head out there.
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
Alrighty, Spite. So, we're making a really valid comparison here. These two motorcycles have so much in common that I honestly think that sometimes when I ride them back to back, I feel like I'm on the same thing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, we were just riding down and talking about how, just the general city livability of these bikes, they're one-to-one, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. I think the only place that you started to give me a little bit of trouble was, some of these stoplights. I saw you pull away a little bit from me, because that bike has just a little bit more power than that one. But honestly, not a huge deal, because I just catch up to you with my top end, really. So it's basically the same thing. So what do you say we get on the road? We start just moseying on through downtown here, doing some city stuff with these two bikes.
Yeah, sure, let's do it. And just in case anybody wonders, we do have some LED lights going on here.
Yeah, because this is a Hayabusa, and that is how you, I think, are legally obligated to ride it.
Yep. So
even though it is daytime right now and you can't see it, but it has to be on still.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and of course, one thing to note, obviously, is, this motorcycle does have a exhaust system, and this one doesn't, so it does make it a little bit quicker, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the dyno jet and the exhaust, so you are pulling a little bit more power than me.
But that's a really quick modification on this, and the beauty of the Honda Grom is that it's a really cheap exhaust system too. So
exactly. Just give us a rev really quick so we can see. Okay, and then I got.
There you go. Yeah, see, very similar note.
So, yeah,
it's just a little corked up from the factory.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So as we mosey on through the city here, the main thing that I notice that is kind of a bit of an Achilles heel for the Hayabusa as an in-town commuter is it is a little bit heavier than the Honda Grom.
Yeah, that is something that I've definitely noticed as well. The Honda Grom does carry its weight pretty well, despite being a similarly weighted motorcycle as the Hayabusa. It just feels a little bit lighter to me,
Yeah, I feel like all of the weight is a little bit more lower down. You got a lower center of gravity, which makes it just a little bit more manageable.
Mm-hmm. I think as well the Grom's throttle response, given that it is just so crisp and so precise, does make it a pretty fantastic motorcycle to ride on the daily basis. I just know exactly what my inputs and outputs are going to be when I twist the throttle here.
And that's one of the things that just unites these two motorcycles, is they're so simple, so pure. There really isn't a whole lot of technology to hold you back.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want a simple, bare bones riding experience, these two bikes are top of the list for sure.
Now that we're coming up to a red light, what do you say we do a little bit of a pull here?
Yeah, let's do an acceleration test. So I'm starting here, first gear. So
all
whenever
right.
you want, just 3, 2,
1. Oh, so you're getting away from me a little bit there. That's just
I'm
the power of the
pulling here a
single.
little bit. Yeah, see, that was your low end torque right there. Just kind of got away from me a little bit. But I think if we had a longer straight, I think I would have caught you for sure.
Yeah. I think what really happens there is you see the power of the single right off of the line.
Exactly. Yeah,
and
low end torque, boom, right there.
Yeah, and it tapers off a little bit towards the top, so you really got to keep it down low in the gears. Whereas
Yeah.
something like the Hayabusa, you will let it wind up just a little bit, and then it'll catch you.
Yeah. And again, they only gave the Honda Grom 4 gears because they didn't want it to go that fast, right? They didn't want to make it so that it could have this incredible top speed and embarrass something like the Hayabusa and other bikes like it. So they had to make sure that they kept it corked up with only 4 gears.
Yeah, I mean, because at what point, why would you even buy a BMW S1000R or something like the CBR 1000 RR RSP when you can buy a Honda Grom with 6 gears?
I honestly don't know. Yeah. And that's a common mod that people will do on the Honda Grom. They'll actually put on those 2 extra gears, and then that's why you see so many highway pull videos with Groms just crushing it,
One thing I am very interested to see, though, is what happens when we get both of these bikes out here in a twisty road environment,
Yeah.
I really got to believe that the Honda Grom's narrow wheelbase will really help it around a corner.
It's very agile, very flickable, yes. But the Busa's longer wheelbase and that stability might add to mid-corner traction,
Yup. Only one way to find out, though.
Yeah, I know it was hard for you to keep up, so I'm glad you didn't try to embarrass yourself.
Yeah, no, I really didn't want to. It's just the sheer raw power of the Grom. It's something that's breathtaking to behold just from the sidelines here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I twist the throttle, I cannot believe what this thing does. It's unbelievable.
And while we're just cruising here in a straight line, I think it's a good time to talk about just general ergonomics of these motorcycles.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of people are going to say, come on, Yammie, but you can't compare these 2 bikes. One is a sport touring fully faired bike and one is a naked bike. That's a little unfair, right?
Yeah, but I mean, when you get down to it, the idea of a sport touring bike is to have nice, comfortable, all-day ergonomics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Hayabusa fails just a little bit when you compare the seat height to the handlebar height.
Mm-hmm.
I would personally, for me, to have the ideal sport touring machine, I'd really like to have a slightly taller set of bars. And that's what the Honda Grom really gives you.
Also, I just love how we passed that woman running and we're barely going faster than her. She almost outpaced us. Yeah, I think the Grom, it just really strikes such a nice balance between all-day comfort and true sporting intent,
Yep.
Like, I feel like I can really carve it up with this machine and just really, really get at it and have fun, but also just kind of mosey my way down to the coffee shop for a nice, post-ride green juice or snack, perhaps,
It really does give you a nice playful, vibe. Its attitude is very light and effervescent.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, you just took off from me on that corner. I don't think I can keep up, man. You gotta slow it down.
Oh, geez, yeah, God, I'm speeding so much on this thing. I can't help it, honestly.
There we go. Oh, it took me a second, but I got back right with you.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man. I'll cook it back a little bit. One place that I think people might find it surprising that these bikes are similar is fit and finish, I think a lot of people think about Honda, they think that's super big, big 4, quality, reliability, expertly pulled together, engineering prowess, right? And then Suzuki, unfortunately, has been lambasted a little bit over the years of, being the whipping boy of the big 4, let's say. And
yeah.
But I really think they're quite similar in build quality.
Yeah, I honestly believe that Suzuki really stepped it up when they put this Hayabusa together. They
Jake,
really
I'm actually struggling going up this hill. I'm not really going much faster. I'm pegged at 36. Holy f***.
I'm sorry, is this hill hard for you?
I don't know how we're going to tackle those hills in there. I'm just going to use momentum. I'm just going to blast through. So sorry, you were saying about Suzuki's build quality. Sorry.
Yeah, I really do believe that Suzuki stepped it up to kind of compete with your Hondas and your Yamahas here. I mean, they knew that they were probably a little bit back of the pack when it came to their reputation, and when they put this together, they were really striving to deliver a blow right at Honda's, top of the mountain tier build quality.
Yes.
You know, I feel the thing rumble to life, and I don't hear a lot of shaking and rattling. It just kind of does what it needs to do. And I think that's the mark of purely just excellent build quality, is not really noticing it. And I think that's something you can say for the Grom too.
Yeah, I think all the components here expertly pulled together, really crisp fit and finish. Like I said, that throttle, just sublime. The gearbox, incredible, snickety. I'm just going to say this. I think it's better than Triumph's gearbox. You know, I didn't think I'd say something like that, but, you know, the Grom is just, it's truly incredible.
And now that we're getting into these hills here, how do you feel about the brakes on the Grom?
I mean, Brembo Master Cylinder who? You know, I've got this this rectangular block here that's doing way better than anything Brembo could give me.
Yeah, I mean, those are Nissan branded calipers, and they actually look really slick, painted red to match the bike.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
and I definitely don't think that it's just an aesthetic design. I think that the Grom really has the chops, you know?
Yeah, and meanwhile here I've got two twin discs up front, each pinched with six pistons, and I still feel like the Busa struggles just a little bit to slow itself down.
Yeah.
So again,
why do you think that is, though?
Honestly, I think it has a little bit to do with the weight. We're coming back to the weight of the Grom over the Hayabusa. Obviously, the Busa is a sport touring machine, so they want it to be really nice and stable on the highway, right? And then that's where a nice heavy weight comes into play. But when you're in the twisties, it can be a bit of a bear, unfortunately. But then you come out of a corner with all of that nice top-end rush of the Hayabusa, and it makes it all go away. It makes it all so much better.
Yeah, the thing I'm really loving here is, I mean, I'm in third gear, and I just got the power to lug it up this hill with this single cylinder. It's really incredible. I'm having to really modulate my throttle and just really modulate that throttle and make sure that, you know, I don't provide too much power. Otherwise, this thing really just gets away from me, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? It's crazy. An engine that makes that much power and doesn't have something like traction control, that's a little bit of an oversight, I'm not going to lie.
I would say so, honestly. Honda definitely should have thought a little bit more about that, but I think they thought about their target audience. They're like, you know what? They know what they're doing. They don't need traction control.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Honda Grom is really targeted at that person who's, you know, an avid track day junkie looking for something that's going to give them the fun of riding a bike aggressively on the street.
Yeah, and I just want to show you again. I mean, it's just unbelievable how just a little bit of throttle really changes what this bike does. I mean, if you just look at this right here, you can see that I'm just applying just a little bit of throttle through this corner, and it's really just incredible how I can't believe what it's doing right now. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so that thing's like a light switch. Just
yeah,
suddenly
you gotta
the
be
power
careful.
comes on.
Yeah, so just little small inputs, kind of like this, just real small inputs. It does great.
And yet, if I were to do something like that on the Busa, I feel like it would just get out from under me.
Yeah.
It's just if I just give it a little too much, and then, you know, it's really easy to find that line where the torque just comes on. Down low, it's really not giving you anything to play with, so you really got to work for it on this bike.
That comes down to that 4-cylinder versus single-cylinder thing. You know, I got all this low-down punch that, unfortunately, you just don't have.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of missing it here as we're getting into these like straighter sections. I feel like I'm working so hard to find the power.
Yeah.
Like that took me forever.
Exactly. You know, just seeing the looks on those people's faces, and they just think, what are these two guys doing out here with these race machines? And I got to agree, I just don't think these have a place on the street, honestly.
Yeah, I think we're getting into the point of who really should be, you know, what is the design ethos of these bikes? I mean, obviously the Honda Grom sits somewhere in with the Hyper Naked, something like your Super Duke, your Tuonos, something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I think the Hayabusa, it fits along the lines of more of something a little bit more laid back, a little bit more kind of dad mode sport touring vibes. Something like the Interceptor or the Versus 650.
You know, when I think Versus 650, really the next word I think of is Hayabusa, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing I think that really shines for the Grom is that the Hayabusa is a thirsty motorcycle. It drinks a lot of gas to get this big self up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And with the amount of power it's putting down being comparable to the Grom, I can't believe how inefficient this motorcycle is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I regularly see about 500 miles of range on this Grom, which a lot of people might say, wow, that's a lot, but that's Honda engineering for you, you know?
Yeah, and yet this Suzuki struggles to get from one gas station to another.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we take that thing out on rides, and we have to fill it up every time we go out.
Mm-hmm. But boy, I'm really glad we have this Infinity in front of us, because we needed somebody to pace, just to act as a pace car, really to slow you down on that thing, man.
Yeah, because I mean, between you and me, I just don't. I really don't know the limit of this bike. I just don't.
How's it feel in mid-corner? How's that suspension carrying you through?
I mean, they say it's race derived for a reason, right? It's unbelievable what this thing's doing. I'm stuck here in these corners, completely locked in the line. Can place this thing wherever I want. It's absolutely telepathic, you know.
And yet,
how's that Busa feel in mid-corner?
Despite the fact that this Hayabusa suspension is fully adjustable, you know, it really does feel a little bit too squishy. Even now that I have it dialed in for my weight, there's something about it that causes a lot of dive in that front fork, and there's no way for me to dial it out.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Well, now that we've run through the Twisties a little bit, why don't we swap off, and so I can get a feel for what that Grom is like.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Alrighty, Spite, let's swap machines here really quick so we can get an idea of what the other person's working with. Again, throttle like a light switch, just be real mindful of it. You know, I know you're an experienced rider, but this is truly, I mean, you got to be careful with it.
I'll make sure to keep it, I'll keep it tame.
Okay.
We gotta get out of this person's way here. I'm sure they're ready to feel the untamed fury of that GMC right there. Oh wow, instantly that power just becomes so noticeable.
Yeah. You see the bottom end punch?
Yeah, it is actually a lot to tame. Wow.
Yeah, I'm noticing the lack of bottom end power on this Busa. It's a real shame over the Grom.
And you know what? I'm really feeling that just that lightweight, small wheel front end feel just it flicks in so nice and so nimble. You know, I have a feeling that we started out saying that these bikes were really so similar, and kind of like our XSR 700 SV650X video, we're finding that they're very different.
Yeah, I think when you look at these two on paper, you'll say to yourself, man, I can't believe how similar they are, but then really, I encourage everyone to go out there and take a ride on each of them to see just how different they actually are.
I do have to give the Busa props where credit is due. That bike is just so much more comfortable in a straight line just because of its sport touring nature. The seat is really nice and cushy, whereas you really do feel the race design seat here. It's very light, very thin, and it bottoms out quickly.
It just keeps pulling, and that's the thing. Remember, that's why they want to make sure that you don't have 6 gears on that thing, because you know, riding in 6 gar on a Grom, it can be very dangerous.
Oh, absolutely, and I feel that right now. See, there you go. That's just that really good top end power and the highway ability of the Hayabusa.
Yeah, it truly is more of a top-end kind of bike. No real low-end to speak of, but really a prodigious top-end for sure.
And you know, having hot swapped right off the Busa onto the Grom, I am noticing a little bit more wind blast because we are on a naked motorcycle. So if you're going to want to do an all-day stretch on this bike, you're probably going to need to get yourself an aftermarket windscreen.
Definitely, I would agree.
Oh, see, look at this. I'm just passing you effortlessly.
Yeah, and there's really nothing I can do either. I'm trying to keep up with you, and I'm really struggling to. You just keep pulling away, and it just sucks, you know?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to tone it down just a little bit so we don't want to separate the cardos here.
Yeah. Oh, like look, I'm trying. Just now. Oh, wait, here we go.
There you are. Now you've caught up.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. And that was 100% throttle, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did take a little bit. Just, man, the race heritage of the Grom is just unbelievable.
Isn't it? You can really feel that it's, you know, Honda, Marquez, GP. It really shines through.
Yeah, and the fact that you can just go out and buy one of these, you can exchange your human dollars for this at a dealership.
Unbelievable.
I mean, this kind of motorcycle really does make me feel like we need some sort of like A2 compliance in this country.
Jesus I mean, god damn, you're really getting away from me. It's incredible.
Yeah, all you need to do is just get yourself into a nice full tuck and you can just feel the the ungodly power of the Grom.
Yeah.
I'm literally dumbfounded. I can't even get my words out.
Yep. Well, Spike, this has been an elucidating vlog here. Why don't we get back into the garage and just chat about who should own these bikes and kind of our final thoughts?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Spike, we've just spent the whole day in the saddle with these machines, and honestly, you know, we started this off thinking that they were exactly the same, but they couldn't be more different, really.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, the specs are so close, so just, they're operating in the same ballpark, but you get on this thing, and it's a whole nother world, man.
It is, yeah.
I don't understand how they can just, how is this package street legal? How can you get something so powerful, so cheap, and so light, and just give it to people, basically.
They basically just give it away for free. Honda's got to be losing money on these things. There's just no way.
Yeah.
This, to me, I wrote it, and I just thought immediately, I was like, America needs a tiered licensing system.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, the fact that anyone can go get this thing, it's untenable.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. If you're thinking about, Honda Grom 125cc as your first bike, on paper, maybe you think that sounds good, but it's really a mistake. You really got to you got to tone it down a little bit, man.
Big mistake. You're much better off starting on something more like this. It's much more mellow, much more lower key. And again, guys, I know you're saying, yeah, it's $10,000 more than the Honda Grom. But guys, you're paying for your safety. You're paying so that you make sure that you're not going to go and yeet yourself into the... You're paying for your safety, okay? You want to make sure that you get on something like this and keep yourself safe. All right, Spike, so the real question is, who should own one of these bikes?
Right, well, it's tough, man, because this bike it's so close to something like your Super Duke, your Tuono, your crazy Hyper Nakeds, that, it's great in the city. It's a little okay when you get it moving. You would like a little bit more wind protection. But honestly, this is for the kind of person who just wants some raw, untamed beast that they can just go have an unbelievable fun time. Basically a bike that'll tear your arms off around every corner.
Yeah, and I mean, as I showed you guys in the vlog, you have to be so judicious with that throttle. Otherwise, this thing, I mean, it wheelies in every gear.
Yeah.
And that's why it only has 4 gears, because if it had another 2 gears to 6 gears, it would just be wheeling every single gear, just embarrassing all the competition, really.
I'm smiling just thinking of the world where there's a 6-gear Grom. I mean, that would be unbelievable.
It'd be incredible, yeah. Someone, please, make a 6-gear Grom so we can have the top-end power that this thing could possibly have.
All right, so, I mean, we know who wants the Grom, but who really should be owning the Hayabusa over there?
So, to me, the Hayabusa, it just screams entry-level motors.
All right, so now that we know who wants to own the Honda Grom, who really should be going and getting...
You know what? No one should buy this bike. It f***ing sucks. You guys, this is a post. You get it. You understand it. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Well, howdy, partner. How's it going? Now, this video's over, but I'll tell you what, you click on this one right over here, you can keep watching yourself some Yammie Noob. And if y'all didn't know, we're based out of Austin, Texas, so click on that video, you might check out something cool.